heard the story of Mr. Surjit, and that is quite inspiring, and this story has inspired thousands of people, those who heard him directly or those who heard it through his YouTube video. But one thing he missed, the person behind him who made everything possible. So that link I want to share with you, and that link is Mrs. Santosh Singh. Please come on stage. I got many opportunities to be at his home in India and yesterday also in Abu Dhabi. And the kind of food she cooks, so that VIP diet, right? Everybody will be healthy like him any day, right? The only thing is that you have to have friendship with her. Most welcome. Special honor for me to be. So it can be easy if you know the science, if you know the technique. I just heard the statistics of cardiac arrest in this city of Indian citizens. The important thing is, to have a heart attack is highly unnatural. Our body is not designed for that. So I'll talk about it in this next 1.5 hours, and you'll be surprised that, like when you buy a car, along with the 4 wheels, there is a 5th wheel, which we call a stepney. So that while we are in the journey, if something happens to any one of the wheel, if it gets punctured, you can quickly replace that with the extra wheel, and the journey will continue. Similarly, the journey of life should continue for 100 years. For that matter, the God has also given thousands of small stepneys around our heart, so that if one artery got blocked, so immediately the body can replace that with a stepney. So this we call as collateral arteries, which is there with all of you even at this moment also. So just imagine that in spite of having the stepney in your car, still when one of the tire gets punctured, you are not able to continue the journey. What could be the other reason? The reason could be that although there is a stepney, but you may not know how to replace it, or you may know how to replace it, but there is no tool available for that, right? So you are stuck. So the knowledge how to replace the stepney, it is not a very huge knowledge. Anybody can learn in just 5 minutes, but that 5 minutes can make some difference. And today's training is all about that. Just little bit understanding, and one cannot die of heart attack. We are not designed, human being for that matter, any animal. Have you ever heard a cat dying of heart attack? So it is not a natural thing to die of heart attack. It is natural sometimes to have a blocked arteries, but blocked arteries leading to death, it is lack of knowledge. To me, it is lack of knowledge. A small knowledge which I am going to explain to you today. If you ensure that this knowledge reaches to everybody, nobody can die of heart attack. It is just not possible. And these all are recognized science, like Nobel Prize winning science. Already it is taught in the medical school. So it is nothing unusual thing. The only thing unusual is why it is not known to the people. That is the only thing. So I strongly believe that you don't need medication, you just need education. And that's what we are going to do in next 1.5 hours. And surely, whatever you are going to see, even from the first slide, the inaugural slide, diabetes reversal in 72 hours. For many people it seems to be unscientific, and for some people, if they are in medical industry, it seems to be offensive also. That how can you say that this is 72 hours, right? Had it been 72 days, people still would have believed a little bit. But when they see 72 hours, it seems to be more like a fake kind of thing. Anyway, I am here for next 72 hours in your city, right? So today is 24th, 25th, 26th and 27th. And before I leave, right, I am still there for 3 days. So what I am going to tell you in next 2 hours, in next 3 days you apply it, and third day you contact and you tell me whether it's possible or not. It's a matter of just 72 hours, but I'm going to tell you now if you can do it. right? Just 72 hours for, if not for 100% of the people, at least for 90% of the people. 90% of those who are taking diabetes medication, 90% of those who are taking blood pressure medication, 90% of those who are taking cholesterol lowering drugs, so, or any kind of intestinal troubles. So, and for rest 10%, they will get relief, but not 100% relief. Right? But even if they get 50% relief in next 72 hours, even then it is a great achievement. So, here, the important thing is, we have to understand, when we take any medicine, very interesting, for diabetes medication, I'll start with diabetes. But important thing is, diabetes, blood pressure and cholesterol, these are connected things. We cannot separate them. You might have started your journey with one diabetes pill, but over the period of 10 years, now ultimately you have collected, you have accumulated, along with diabetes, hypertension, along with hypertension, cholesterol lowering drug, along with that some multivitamin and capsule and some tonic. So now it is a collection of medication. So your journey might have started with one medication, but now it may not be one. For many of you, it may be multiple. So we just say that trying to control blood sugar is a small part of the whole thing. So, but let me start with diabetes. What is diabetes? Diabetes is not a disease. Technically, it is not a disease. It just means high sugar in the blood. That's all. It is a medical condition. It is not classified as a disease. So, medical condition is something which can be changed in one moment. Right? High sugar in the blood. So, for example, imagine it is a 1 liter bottle, imagine, and my body weight is 70 kg, and if I take out all my blood from my body, there will be about 5 liter of blood, 5 liter of blood. How many bottles I need to put all my blood in the bottle? 5 bottles. So now from one of the bottle I take 1 drop of blood and put in the glucometer, and the reading comes as 100. That means in 1 liter of my blood, the amount of sugar is 1 gram. If it comes 200, this means in 1 liter of my blood, if you take out all the sugar, it will be about 2 grams. So when you check through glucometer, the number you get, that signifies that in every liter of your blood, how much sugar is circulated. First of all, why we need sugar? Very important and quite understandable. At this moment, you are alive. This means every cell of your body constantly needs a source of energy, because you are spending energy. So, among all the sources our body has, the primary source through which body gets energy is sugar. So, sugar means energy, and the blood as a transporter, it takes the sugar to each and every destination, every cells. Cell burn it, and that is convert that into energy, and because of that you are alive right now. Sugar is good or bad? Very good. It is a good thing. High sugar is good or bad? High sugar means high energy. Doctor will say your blood sugar is, my God, 500. Will say, oh, this means I am full of energy, isn't that? So high sugar in the blood is not good, because that is just a transporter. It is just transporting the sugar. So if too much sugar is in the blood, it is like too much traffic in the city roads. If too much traffic is in the city road, what you can expect? The city will become slow. This means the students will not be able to reach the school at the right time. The ambulance may not be able to reach the destination at the right time. Each one of us will get delayed because of some reason. Who will get affected in the city? Each one of them who stay in the city. What kind of magnitude of effect? That may vary. But one thing is that everybody will get affected if there is a jam in the city. Right? Maybe the vegetable will not reach the shop at the right time. Maybe the child will not get the food at the time when it is required. Everything will be delayed. The same thing happens when there is a more amount of sugar in the blood. Which organ will get affected? It is like asking who will more get affected. Every organ will get affected. So for somebody it may be heart, somebody it may be kidney, somebody it may be eyes, may get affected more than any other organ, and that is what is called genetics. So genetics come later, when body decide that which one will get breakdown first. Then comes genetic, right? So here, sugar is high, then what is the problem? You understood a little bit. So your intention will be to lower the sugar. Now to lower the sugar, you take a pill, all kind of medication, and then you check in the glucometer, and now you get a favorable reading, lesser reading. One interesting question I would like to ask you, you take a medicine and the blood sugar is demonstrated in the glucometer less than what it was before, where the excess sugar went. How magically it went away? Do you think that the medicine pulled the sugar from the blood and threw out of your body? It did not happen. It did not happen. Then what exactly the medicine does? The important thing before you take the next medicine, the important request to you, before you take the next medicine, you must ask yourself whether you take blood pressure medicine or cholesterol medicine or diabetes medication, that I take the medicine, what is my expectation? My sugar should be lower, but you must ask how it is doing it. What is the mechanism? So that is your duty. So sugar is lower, this means the excess sugar must be going somewhere. Where it has gone, this you will find out. Let's try to find out through some example. I need this suitcase here. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. So this is my luggage. I packed it, but it is too much of things are here, so I could not fit these two things in the suitcase. No more space. But if I ask you, can any of you help me to fit these things inside my suitcase? At least, who will try? I need maybe 2 or 3 people. Who can try? 1. Please come. I literally want that these should not be outside, it should be inside the suitcase. 1. And anybody else who would like to help him so that he can do it faster? Please come. Please come. So now there are 2 volunteers, and along with me, maybe 3 of us will try to fit these 2 things in the suitcase. So earlier I could not do it when I was doing it alone. Yeah. So now you have to put it. So great. This anyway, let's together try to put it here. And yes. And only thing is that we have to put some force on it. Sometimes when we are not able to fit, then we sit on the suitcase and ultimately we are successful, right? At that time the only intention is that the thing should be inside, and thanks that you could do it successfully. Now, what happened exactly? In reality, the suitcase was already full. But now I have some more things with me, and it is outside. I want you to put it inside. Some books are there and some more material. If I ask that, can you put this one also? Maybe out of you, some of you would like to try, and you may be successful in doing that. What happened? First, you managed to put one object, but when the second one came, he surrendered, then he said, okay, now let me try. So that is the first line of treatment. When you go to the doctor, the first metformin, so he is metformin. So what metformin does, it takes the sugar out of the blood. Out of the blood, but not out of the body. It throws somewhere in the body. So your blood sugar is less, but your body sugar remains the same. There is a mechanism or a method or an instrument called glucometer to check the blood sugar, but there is no instrument to check body sugar. So you are only aware that my blood sugar is less, but you do not know that your body sugar remains constant. The only thing is the location of the excess sugar got replaced, changed from blood to somewhere else. But metformin is having its own limitation after some time, in spite of, because it will keep on dumping, and a time will come that it is already full. Then metformin surrendered. Now, doctor, you will go back to doctor, because in spite of taking medicine, your blood sugar is high. So doctor will say, okay, along with metformin, you take pioglitazone also. So pioglitazone much more powerful, and he is having a different trick, different mechanism. He said, what he said? Oh, let me fold it and put it right? The mechanism which he was not thinking about, right? So his brain was not going in that direction. But he suggested, no, I have one more idea, one more trick, right? Maybe now if I ask him, can you put the book? So he will surrender, no. Now I'll go to the doctor again, and maybe another third person, another kind of salt, another kind of formula will come, and that will try to fix in somewhere else. So try to understand, every time you take a medication, it is not taking the sugar out of your system. It is just trying to replace it, place it somewhere else in the body. Do we really want this? We don't want it. The only thing is that when you see in glucometer your number is less, you feel happy, right? But our goal is not to feel happy, our goal is to feel healthy, right? So that we cannot achieve technically with the medicine. Thank you. So the most important thing, that medicine cannot bring health, at least as far as diabetes medication is concerned. And a time will come, as it happened with Mr. Sukhjit Singh ji, that the doctor will say that all this medicine I gave, but still the blood sugar is high, now it is time for insulin. Now, many of you might have experienced, either yourself or your family member or your friends, they started taking insulin, and what happened? Immediately the blood sugar dropped to the extent as they desire. Do you know what the insulin does when you take insulin? Okay, let me give you a small example to make you understand. Just watch this video and you will understand when you take insulin what happens inside the body. So, these policemen are insulin and this train is your body. So every time you take insulin, it's something like this which happens to your body. Just imagine if you happen to be in this kind of train, maybe for 1 or 2 hours you can survive. But if you have to live in this kind of situation, in this kind of suffocation for some days, what will happen? Same thing will happen as it is going to happen with those flowers inside the suitcase. Right? Maybe after 2 hours, if I take out the flowers which is there in the suitcase, fit by pioglitazone, right? What you can expect out of the flower? It will die, right? So many times the doctor says, you go to any hospital, the doctor, the sister, the nurse is trying to convince the family member of the patients. We are very sorry the patient died, but the good thing is his blood sugar is still normal. So try to understand that what is our goal. Our goal is not to control the blood sugar at all, our goal is to bring back the health, right? And that cannot be achieved by taking medication, because medication do not decrease the body sugar, it may decrease the blood sugar. Now, one important question could be at this point of time, that if that is so, then why these medicines are being prescribed, right? So I'll come to this question in next 1 minute, but before that I'd like to tell you, it is not just a story of blood sugar medication, it is a story of all kind of medication. All kind of medication, if you just try to focus on the mechanism they are using to help you to give the desirable parameter, then you will know that it is killing you slowly. I'll give you one example to make you understand. So if I talk of blood pressure, you tell me which one seems to be correct. High blood pressure leads to heart disease or risk of brain stroke, or risk of brain stroke and heart disease leads to high blood pressure. Which one seems to be correct? First or second? First. If you happen to go to a doctor and they discover that you have a high blood pressure, they will say you have high blood pressure, so you have a risk of heart attack. You have a risk of dying of brain stroke, isn't it? It is very commonly heard thing. So, keeping aside that knowledge which we have gathered over the period of time, mostly by hearing from the doctors and people around, let's take a fresh look to this idea of high blood pressure, how it happens. So, for that I'll give you a small example. Imagine it is a pipe, not a pen. Imagine it is a pipe, a flexible pipe. I fit the pipe on a tap, water tap. I switch on the tap, the water will flow, water pressure. If I squeeze the pipe from in between, the water pressure should increase or decrease? Increase. Lesser is the diameter of the pipe, more is the water pressure. Now imagine it is not a water pipe, it is a blood pipe. It is the arteries. Blood is flowing. And what is happening because of the kind of lifestyle we are leading, inside there is a blockage. Right? So slowly it develops. So the diameter will reduce. As the diameter shrinks, what will happen? The blood pressure will increase. And if that blockage is near the heart, it is called heart disease. But the blood vessel is everywhere. Right? There are 100,000 kilometers of arteries around our body. If that blockage is near the kidney functioning will slow, it will be called kidney disease. Will relate with kidney. If it is liver, will relate with liver disease kind of thing. But the truth is, it is the blockage which is reducing, shrinking the blood vessel. So the blockage is causing high blood pressure, and blockage itself is heart disease. When you take the medicine, the kind of medicine which you take to control the blood pressure, do you think the medicine is eliminating the blockage, leading to again normalizing the blood pressure? Answer is no. Medicine cannot do anything to eliminate or reduce or control the blockage. But instead, when you take the medication of blood pressure, it tries to interfere with the heart functioning, tries to force the heart to function less, so pump less, and as a result you get the desirable number. But you start feeling more sick, because after all your heart has become weak, so the blood pressure has reduced. Now come again, high blood pressure leads to heart disease, or heart disease leads to high blood pressure. So now you could relate, it is the heart disease and the high blood pressure is the outcome. It is not the disease itself. I'll give you one example to make you understand. Imagine I throw a sweet and we come after 2-3 hours, what we find around? Ants. I give you a gun, kill all the ants. How many days or how many hours will it take to kill all the ants? Never, because more you kill the ants, some more will get collected. So, but what is the solution? You remove the sweet and the ant will not be there. Ant itself is not a problem. Problem is the sweet. But our focus is towards the ant. And with this focus, what is happening? The bullet selling company, you become their permanent customer. Right? There cannot be a day when you say, okay, now it is ant free. Cannot be. I only want to tell you that you try to find which is the sweet and throw it out. The problem will be vanished. Right? So if we are focusing on the wrong cause, which is not a cause, and we are thinking it is a cause and trying to treat the cause, symptom is not a cause. Diagnosis is not a cause. The problem is not high blood pressure. That is the outcome. The problem is not the ant. That is the outcome. Ant itself means there must be some sweet. If we see there is an ant around on the floor, what we think? There must be some sweet. So instead we try to remove the sweet. So it is very simple. How much time will it take to remove the sweet? 1 minute. How much time will it take to remove the ants? Lifetime. So that is what is called diabetes, that is what is called blood pressure, and that is what is called high cholesterol. These things are as simple as remove the sweet and as difficult as trying to kill all the ants. That is how it is. So now again the question comes, the logical question comes, if these medicine do not contribute in making your life longer and healthier in any way, then why it is in the market? Why the government has approved it? Why it is being sold in the market? Why it is being prescribed by the doctor? After all, it has gone through rigorous, many kind of medical trials and lot of research work, and then it has reached to you. Lot of scrutiny, and these things are done by the people who are really honest people. So in spite of all this, how the things can go so wrong? Just one slide will make you understand this. Half of all the clinical trials are never published. Half of all the clinical trials happen in this world never got published. Trial happened, but the result has never got published. I'll give you one example to make you understand, and then we'll try to switch to the solution part. First, we have to understand what is the problem. If we don't understand the problem, we will not be able to appreciate the solution. Any medicine in this world, before it comes to you, it has to pass through a rigorous process, and it is being controlled by FDA, Food and Drug Administration, right? And mostly it is the Western medicine from US, so you can think of US FDA, right? And in context of, if I talk of India, so whatever US FDA approves, Indian FDA that approves blindly. So that's how it is, right? So now, imagine that you are FDA, and imagine that I am a pharmaceutical company, and I come to you one day and I tell you that I have invented a coin. Let me take out a coin. I have invented a coin, and that coin is something amazing. And the amazingness is a magical kind of thing that whenever you throw the coin, you'll get head. So I want your approval, I want to bring it to the market so that people can benefit from this coin. So as the FDA, you will say, no, first you have to prove it. So go and do trials and show the result, and on the basis of that, not on the basis of your claim, but on the basis of the evidence. So I go back to my home, I toss it 100 times, what will happen? 50 times it will be head, and 50 times it will be tail. Not every time it will be head. What I'll do, out of 50 times when it is not desirable result, out of that 50 times, 40 times I will eliminate. That is what is called, I will not publish. Right? And 60 result I will publish and come back to you to see these are the 60 trials I did. Out of that, 50 is head, 10 is tail. So the FDA will think he is an honest man, because at least there is some negative reporting, but that is too less reporting. Right? So that is the tolerance range. And they will scrutinize those 60 evidences very, very carefully. They will look it again and again. So every time they look, what they will find? They will find a positive result. And based on that, they will give the approval. This means you will give the approval, you are FDA. Right? Now when it is going to the market, and the people, they will buy it with the approval and the promise the product is making. But when they will consume it, it will not fulfill the promise, obviously. Now, as a consumer, what is your right? That you will complain to FDA. Now, FDA, what is their right? They will do the scrutinize it once again, a fresh trial, right? Controlled and by WHO, controlled by independent third body, and then, but unfortunately, it takes about 6 years to 18 years to do this investigation for one drug, each of the drugs. 6 years to 18 years. So, and this means, even if you have complained to FDA, I am still doing my business. And maybe on average after 12 years, FDA will conclude that this medicine is not good, and I have lied to the FDA. So FDA will ban, and FDA will fine me some money. But by that time, I have already earned 10 times more money than what I have to give as a fine. And I am already prepared. I know that after these many years, I will be caught, but I am ready with the fine money. And that is not the story of one medicine. That is the story of 50% of the medicine. You see, if you see the life cycle of any medicine, within 10 to 15 years or maybe 20 years, it is banned finally. Because of, and many of the diabetes medication, right, which you are taking, even now, are banned in the developed countries. Right? Many of the diabetes medication. I will come in between, I will tell you. Right? So those which are no more sold in developed country, but they push it in the developing countries. Right? So that is the reality of the medical trials. And if you want to do the research, and if you want to know detail about it, detailed story. These are not my cooked story. These are all already there in the mainstream. Now, in last 4 years, these are being discovered. Right? Only last 4 years. So, British Medical Journal, the #1 journal of the world, you know, they, as a sense of responsibility, along with some more organizations like that, they started something called alltrials.net. Alltrials.net, and they decided to expose one drug per week, right? Those who did this, and they are 50% of them. This means, in this presently, if there are 1,000 medicine in a shop, 50% of the medicine are the those who lied, and that's why they're in the shop. 50%, and that is not my estimation. It is already mainstream report, and you can access that report, which is official, right, through alltrials.net. And because the effort of alltrials.net, what is happening? Slowly and gradually, every week, one or the other drug is getting banned by FDA. But by that time, millions of people already consumed, and thousands of them already died because of, not of the disease, but because of the side effect of that medicine. Right? So So here is the truth, that in spite of the medicine will never work, still they are in the market, because till now, the drug company, they used to use these kind of tactics, which I just gave an example, and these all examples, right, I've taken. If you go in detail, you will understand it. I want to tell you one thing, that especially of high blood pressure. High blood pressure cannot be a problem at all. For example, I'm standing in front of you and suddenly I see a snake. What will happen? I'll just jump, right? I'll just jump and I'll be alert. I'll try to protect myself. I may run. At this time, if you check my blood pressure, what it would be? 200 by 100, 250 by 150. So am I a high blood pressure patient? Certainly not. You know it, right? So a zebra in the jungle, when it senses that there may be a danger, a tiger, what happens? The blood pressure increases, the heartbeat increases, the pulse rate increases. He could see more clearly, he could hear more clearly, he is more alert, he is ready to fight or flight. So when your blood pressure is higher, your body prepares for some expected or unexpected emergency situation. Right? So it is a protective mechanism given by the God since the time we used to live in a jungle. Right? So the moment you enter the hospital, you look at the doctor. Right? The moment you look at the doctor, your blood pressure increases. Right? So older is the doctor, more is the blood pressure. More expensive is the hospital, the higher is the blood pressure. More famous and more number of degrees the doctor is having, which you have read already outside, your blood pressure is too much. And now when the doctor checks your blood pressure, the doctor will say, look, your blood pressure is so high, and he is right. But who is responsible? The doctor is responsible. Right? And this is known as white coat syndrome. It is called white coat syndrome. The moment you look at white coat, your blood pressure increases. So medically it is called white coat syndrome, and according to American Journal of Cardiology 1987, 80% of the patients have higher reading in the doctor's office. 80% of those who are taking high blood pressure medication, they are in reality do not have high blood pressure. It is just a moment when it is being checked in the doctor's office. So this means if 100 people are taking blood pressure medication, out of them 80 are not suffering from hypertension, they are suffering from white coat syndrome. Right? So, and that is as much as 80%. Now you see, blood pressure. If I ask you one simple question, what should be the standard blood pressure, healthy blood pressure? Any answer quickly? 120 by 80. Wherever I go, whichever country, I have this kind of training, even among the laymen or among the doctors, I always get one number, 120 by 80. Right? So, but you'll be surprised, this number is not there in the medical journal, it is there in the newspapers. Mainstream media, not mainstream medical journal. I'll come to it within the next 2 minutes, but before that I'll tell you. So with this idea that 120 by 80 is the healthy range, right? So if any doctor take this idea, then what will happen? You see, Norway is a country where the average blood pressure of a citizen is 150 by 90, average. And Norway is a country with the highest, one of the highest life expectancy. People normally live till 80 years. Now if a doctor from here goes to Norway and he checks the blood pressure of the average citizen, what will say? My God, everybody is going to die of heart attack. We must reduce their blood pressure immediately. Right? And this is not my opinion, it is just a mainstream idea nowadays. According to Journal of American Medical Association, 2013, implementation of the present European guideline would label 76% of the Norwegian adult as having high blood pressure suitable for drug treatment. Right? They themselves are confused that to those, otherwise they are healthy, but if they use this parameter, then most of them will be labeled as high hypertension patient and unnecessarily will be given a medication. This means what blood pressure is suitable to you, only you know. Nobody else knows. Right? One shoe may not fit everybody. On the other hand, if you see a small island in Andaman Nicobar, you have gone anybody? There are many islands. In one island there is the tribe lives, they are called Jarawas. I'll talk about them more. Jarawas are the tribe, they are never ill of any lifestyle disease, and if you check their blood pressure, average blood pressure is 100 by 60. Now just imagine, if by any normal standard if you try to evaluate, you will see, my God, they are having very, very low blood pressure. We must do something to at least bring it to 120 by 80. So, the reference range 120 by 80, it seems to be something unscientific, or the unscientific is even thinking in terms of referring to any number. Right? The most important thing is what makes you feel comfortable, and that can be different for you, it can be something else for you, or something else for somebody else. So trying to achieve a number is like that you are given a shoe and you are asked to fit that shoe. So if it is tight, you try to cut your leg or maybe your toes so that it gets fit, right? So idea is not to fit in other shoes, right? Idea is to see what makes you comfortable and you take that shoe as your shoe. So there is a huge misunderstanding about the concept of blood pressure, right? If you see the history of blood pressure in last few years, before 1993, Joint National Committee. Joint National Committee is the organization, they are responsible to decide what blood pressure should be called as high blood pressure. Before 1993, it was 160 by 100. Anybody having high blood pressure means 160 by 100 and above are suitable for drug treatment. But after that, it made 140 by 90. Now you are saying 120 by 80. Maybe by the end of this month, this year, it will become 115 by 75. And if it happens, only those people will be called healthy, those who do not check their blood pressure. Anybody checking the blood pressure will be labeled as a blood pressure patient. So only when you remain healthy, don't check. Right? So, here, you see what is happening. Now you try to go back to 1993 and before that, and think how many people you could recollect, those who are taking high blood pressure medication. Now you look now at this instant, how many people you know who are taking high blood pressure medication. You will see that 10 times more number of people are consuming high blood pressure medication in comparison to what it was about 25 years back. It is not that people are getting more ill, right? It is just that the parameter is squeezing. It is like that you don't want to lose the football match, so what you are doing? Every time you get an opportunity, you are cleverly trying to squeeze your own goalpost. And once the goalpost becomes so small, even smaller than the size of the football, right? So nobody can win against you. The same thing is happening with the parameters. Any kind of parameter, diabetes parameter, blood pressure parameter, cholesterol parameter, over the period of time, it is getting squeezed. Now, more people are taking medication than any other time in the human lifespan, human history. But the truth, Mr. Raju just told that more number of people are dying of heart attack these days. If the blood pressure medication is having some protective value, then why heart attack, cardiac arrest is happening more than any other time of the human history? So it clearly shows that the answer to health is not through the medication. It cannot be through the medication, right? It has to be something else. So that is what we are going to understand and discuss now. So here, one thing you have to understand, according to Center of Disease Control, US body, 73% of the diabetes patients are also on antihypertensive drugs. Very true. If you are taking diabetes medication, trying to control the blood sugar, eventually it leads to increase in blood pressure. And then when you go and complain and doctor checks, by chance your blood pressure is high, instead of stopping the blood sugar medication, which is the cause of this, they try to give one more medication. So that is a trap. So let's try to understand the mechanism of it in next 1 minute with just one slide, and that will conclude most of the things, questions around these things. That is one of the greatest trial called Accord trial. Accord trial is the biggest ever trial on diabetes medication, biggest and very influential trial. In Accord trial, about 10,000 people were enrolled. 10,000 people were enrolled. All of them were having high blood sugar, and they decided to divide it into two groups, 5,000 and 5,000. One group of people, blood sugar is high, all of them were given medication to lower the blood sugar, right, within the range. Another group were not given any medication, and they decided to see the trial for next 6 years. What happens? By the time it was 3.5 years, the group who were receiving the medication, hence controlling the blood sugar, 22% more death could be seen. And in a fear that more people will die in this group, the trial was stopped within 3.5 years itself, right? And then the conclusion comes that diabetes medication has nothing to do with improving your health or nothing to do with making your lifespan longer. It can, what it causes, 22% more death, what it causes, 36% more cardiovascular related death. So it causes heart disease and that causes high blood pressure. Ultimately, because of this medicine, you are getting one more medication that is called high blood pressure medication, increased weight by 10 kg, increased fluid retention. These were the conclusion of Accord trial, which was published on 2008. Now, it is 2019, about 10 years or 11 years more than when the result was already public, right? But in 2010, American Diabetes Association, they released a new guideline, that how you should take medication. To make that guideline, they ignored the result of this trial. Because if they include the result of this trial, means they have to ask the people not to take medication. Because medication is not helping the humanity. So that was what happened. That's why, in spite of this trial, even if this trial is there, you all are still taking medication, or the people are still recommending medication. Only till last year. Last year, in 2018, the new guideline came, ACP guideline. Right? So, in that guideline, the first thing is that try to reduce the medication and let the patient know that medication will give you the number but not the health. That is the first guideline statement, right? But unfortunately, that guideline statement might not have reached to you, right? So that's what we are going to achieve, whatever cap is being done. So here there is one more element, the third element to it, and without including that element, this will be incomplete, and that is the cholesterol lowering drugs, high cholesterol. So any one of this, if you start, eventually you will be recommended rest of the two. Why? Because the cholesterol lowering drug, if you be on this drug for 6 months to 1 year, it causes several other side effects, which includes diabetes or muscle damage or memory loss, even erectile dysfunction within 6 months to 2 years. And these are official things. FDA warning 2012. These are official things. These are official documented things. The only thing is it is not told to you, right? So if it is not told to you, that does not mean that the medicine when you take, these side effects will not happen to you. Still it will happen. Right? You do not know, you are ignorant, but that will have nothing to do, right, when you are consuming the medicine. So when you are consuming cholesterol lowering drug, be ready, be prepared that you are yourself causing your body a diabetic patient. You are creating diabetes inside you. And that is already official. Right? So when you buy medicine, if you buy a big box of medicine, in the warning it is already written. But we don't buy a big box, right? So the outer box is having the warning, but you just buy the leaves of medicine. So in that, these warnings are not there, right? So sometimes you try to buy the big box, you will find the warning, right? So now, one more shocking thing I will tell you, that when you say cholesterol lowering drug, you should be aware in this world there is no medicine which can reduce your cholesterol. There is no medicine which can reduce your cholesterol. But then you will say, doctor has given me cholesterol lowering drug. I will ask you, what is that medicine name? You will read, it is called atorvastatin, some statin, right? But I will ask you, statin, you check in the Google, what is the scientific name? Check on the internet, check anywhere, check to the doctor, ask him, your cholesterol, if you are saying it is cholesterol lowering drug, can you give me the scientific name? The scientific name of cholesterol lowering drug, it is called HMG coenzyme inhibitor. The scientific name is not cholesterol inhibitor. Inhibitor means stopping to build that chemical, right? It is called HMG coenzyme inhibitor. The statin which you are taking is not cholesterol lowering drug. Scientific name is HMG coenzyme inhibitor, right? So it is something else. So what happens here? It is something which you must know if you are on this drug or if you are on any drugs. What happens? HMG coenzyme is a kind of chemical which your body produces, and this chemical produces one more path called mevalonate pathways, and And against these pathways, body produces several kind of chemical, including cholesterol. And each of the chemical is having its role in your body. I'll give you one example only to make you understand the whole concept, and then we'll move to the most important part. And for example, in our whole body, all the muscles, when you use for a certain period, they get tired. Leg muscle, arms. One muscle which never get tired. Which is that muscle? Heart. Even tongue get tired if you keep on speaking. Heart. There may be some exception, but still, right? Heart. Since you are born, it has never stopped, but still it is not getting tired. You never give a rest. Do you want to give a rest to the heart muscles? You have been working since childhood. Why don't we take few minutes rest? You'll be on permanent rest. You know that. So you'll not do it. You'll not dare to do it. Why the heart muscle never rest? Why it do not need rest? Because of one contribution of one chemical that is called CoQ10. Right? But this is produced by mevalonate pathway, and this is the initiation of HMG coenzyme. So similarly, each of the chemical is contributing towards certain kind of activity, including one chemical is protecting you from cancer, the other chemical is giving you immunity, the third chemical is signaling system controlling the heart functioning. So, and one chemical, cholesterol, which is the most important chemical when any new body cell is produced. Every day thousands of our cells are dying and thousands of new cells are producing. The outer layer of the cells is made up of cholesterol. So each one of the chemical is formed, is doing certain activity for the body, and it is being initiated by HMG coenzyme. But what you do in the morning or in the afternoon, you take a statin, cholesterol, so-called cholesterol lowering drug, and it works here. It does not reduce cholesterol here. It blocks the production of HMG coenzyme. Since it is blocking it, obviously now when you check your cholesterol level, it should reduce, right? But along with the reduction of cholesterol level, what else will happen? The rest of the chemical will also get reduced, including CoQ10. So as a result, now within few months, what will happen? You will report that now you are getting tired too early, right? You are not that strong. Your heart is not strong. You will go back to doctor and say that last few weeks, I feel that I am not feeling strong. I always feel tired. Doctor will understand that you are on cholesterol lowering drug. Doctor will say, why don't you take CoQ10 capsule also? He will not ask you to reduce cholesterol lowering drug. He will ask you to add one more tablet. So try to understand this cholesterol lowering drug. If you know a little bit the origin of it, the history of it, you will understand the whole science, commerce and arts of it. In 1970s, the US Army, they went to China and they found a plant called red rice plant. It is a unique plant. In a hostile environment, it grows, and around it, a lot of insects are always surrounded by a lot of insects and a lot of other kind of small creature which can kill and attack and can be a threatening to the survival of that red rice plant. So God has given one power to red rice plant that it can spray some chemical on those insects who are coming close to the plant, and that chemical can kill the insects. And the chemical which is being sprayed by that plant, what is the name of the plant? Red rice plant. That chemical is called statin. So the poison which the plant is spraying to kill the insect, that poison is what we are eating. So the poison which is poison for rest of the insect is also poison for you. So if you want to take back one thing for you, I will say at least throw the cholesterol out of the window. But don't throw the cholesterol out of the window, because I don't want that animals should also get an access to this. This even animals should not eat. So many times my patients say, doctor, I have already bought one pack of one leaf of cholesterol. This let me eat. Already I spent a lot of money. I'll not buy again. So I don't want your money to get wasted. I can give you some better idea. You take the cholesterol lowering drug, that is statin. You take kapoor. Kapoor, you know? What is called in English? Camphor, right? So you make a powder of it, mix it, and you burn it. The smoke of it in your room, all the insects will vanish. So you see, you get a solution. So it can kill and it can help you get rid of the insects and mosquito. right? So if you find a lot of mosquito insect in your house, let cholesterol lowering drug help you, right? So at least your money is saved, right? It not got wasted. So now you have understood a little bit about cholesterol lowering medicine. You have understood the mechanism of blood pressure medication. You understood the mechanism of the diabetes medication, and these things are now official. When I say now, it is in last 3-4 years only, especially last 1 year. So maybe down the line, within next 2-3 years, or in the mainstream media and mainstream doctors will also start recommending similar kind of things. But let's start doing it today, because it is whatever I am going to tell you, these are the official things, right? These are not my own finding or my own research. Yes, I have seen these result in my patients, but I just have collected the reports from the journals, those which are hidden, and just I'm conveying to you in a simple language. That's all is my contribution, right? So now when you go back today, what you need to do? If you are on any of these drugs, then what I expect you to do when you go back home today. So here, one interesting slide I'll tell you. You see, have you seen this movie? Pa. This is called Pa, right? So here the son was looking older than the father. That was told, right? So because the son was suffering from an illness called Hutchinson-Gilford progeria. And what is this illness? In simple language, this illness means a child who is born without the ability of forming this chain, right? So if it happens, which happens in 1 million or 2 million children, right? The unfortunate child is born without the body's ability to produce this mevalonate pathway, so they grow older by 10 times faster. At the age of 8 years, they look like 80 years, right? So just imagine God has given us something wonderful, and what we are doing, we are trying to kill it, right? We are trying to reduce it, and one thing happens definitely to all those people who are taking cholesterol-lowering drugs, they start growing older, right? They start becoming older very, very quickly. Their heart starts pumping less, right? So their skin, right? It looks like the old man's skin. So all those transformation could be seen in those people who are regularly on cholesterol-lowering drugs. And these things are all official things, right? So now, having understood these signs, what is your responsibility? The only thing I want to tell you that you have to be your own doctor. You have to take an initiative like CTG, little bit, right? People say that, okay, it will be risky, but I say that not doing can be more risky. So from tomorrow morning, I want you to do something. So for the patient, what I am going to tell you now is applicable for these patients. If you are a diabetes patient for less than 10 years, if you are non-insulin dependent, if you don't have any kidney disease, if you never had an angioplasty or bypass surgery, no heart attack or brain stroke, so if you satisfy all these conditions, then what I am going to tell you now, you try to implement from tomorrow. But if you don't satisfy this condition, then I will tell you something else, right? But for that, you have to wait for a few more minutes. So if you satisfy these conditions, this means you are a diabetic patient but less than 10 years, right? Maybe you are taking blood pressure medication but never had a bypass surgery, or never had a heart attack, or it is not a kidney disease, right? You are not taking insulin. Then you take what I call as 3 days diagnostic challenge. 3 days diagnostic challenge. It is very simple, and the name of the challenge is 250. 3 days diagnostic challenge, and it is called 250. What it means, very simple. For next 3 days of your life, stop taking diabetes medication, blood pressure medication, and cholesterol lowering drug. Not even for 3 days, only for 24 hours. First, for 24 hours. 24 hours, stop taking these medications, right? So, if you satisfy all these conditions, as I just told you, so surely, stopping for 24 hours does not mean anything to the body. Why? Because even if you are not taking medication, still there is lot of medicine circulating in the blood which you have been taking for last several years. Get the point? Your body has not flushed all the medicine; it is still running in the body. So even if you stop when you stop the medicine for 1 day, but body is full of medicine, so it doesn't make much difference, right? So don't get scared or frightened that if I don't take medicine for one day, what will happen to me? Your body is already having storehouses of medicine because you have been taking it for long. Right? Stopping one day will not mean anything to the body. Right? Will mean very minor. So, number one. Right? But that is not nothing, right? Even from your point of view, nothing significant which can be scary or which can lead to some emergency, right? So, but after one day, every day for 3 days you have to take a diagnostic 250 challenge. So here, I've seen two kind of audience. One, like Sujit ji, they take an initiative to it. One, little different, want to be safer. They go to the doctor. Doctor, today I went to a seminar and there the speaker was saying, first you stop for medicine for one day, then he says, okay, ultimately for 3 days. So before I do it, only for 1 or 2 days or maybe 3 days, but I want to take your permission. Can I do it? What do you think will be his response? If something happens, I am not responsible, only you are responsible. This is a universal statement all across the world, right? Then what should be your response? Let me tell you, right? Help you in that. You can tell the doctor, okay doctor, I agree with you, I will not stop the medicine, but if now something happens, will you be responsible? So what do you think will be his answer? Certainly not, right? So only one person in the world is responsible, and that is you. Right? So your doctor can never be responsible. He has never taken the responsibility. Right? A lot of things happens to you in spite of taking medicine, which is recommended by a doctor, but still what is happening? He increases the medicine. That's all. So come out of that illusion that somebody else is responsible. Nobody else is responsible. It is your life, it is your duty, it is your responsibility. If it is your responsibility, then you have to educate yourself a little bit. Right? At least the kind of education which can help take your journey further. So here you have to be your own decision maker rather than putting this responsibility on doctor or somebody else. But I can tell you with my experience that nothing will happen, right, if you stop the medicine for one day, 24 hours, because your body is full of medicine already. And I can tell you that medicine which you take today, the body takes at least 1 month, 2 months, 3 months time to eliminate it 100%. And in many cases, it can never eliminate 100% in your whole life. So that is altogether a different subject. Some time else I will tell you. So medicine which you are taking now, right, it takes a lot of time for the body, right, to eliminate it. So when you don't take medicine the first day, still your body there is circulating medicine is there. So need not to worry. But on the first day, that is tomorrow, right, you have to do challenge 250. What is challenge 250? Very interesting and very scientific. Check your blood pressure, maybe in the evening, and add your systolic and diastolic, top and bottom. If it is less than 250, then you are in safe range, right? And this is based on Cochrane database and JNC. Now the latest blood pressure, blood pressure recommendation is from JNC 8, Joint National Committee 8. So, and Cochrane collaboration is one of the very reputed organization, and they don't take any donation from pharmaceutical company or a private organization. They take donation only from the government organization, right? So about 125 countries are supporting Cochrane collaboration, and you can depend on their reports. So according to Cochrane collaboration, it is 160/100, and beyond that, if the blood pressure rises, only then the medicine can give you some relief. And according to JNC 8, it is 140/90, and for some people it is 150/90. So you take the middle path. You don't get confused in these things. Let me make it simple for you. You take the blood pressure and you add systolic and diastolic. If it is less than 250, assuming that tomorrow you are not taking medicine, but it comes less than 250, you are in a safe range. Safe range, right? That is the first day. Now you go to the second day of not taking medication. This means by second day your body has eliminated most of the medication, right? But still there may be a fraction of medicine. But still your body is able to maintain a blood pressure less than 250. Then proceed to third day without blood pressure drug. And again you check the blood pressure. If on the third day also your blood pressure body is able to maintain less than 250, this means this is the original, your normal blood pressure, which the body is able to maintain without the intervention of any drug or any kind of chemical. So this means you are not a hypertension patient and you don't need any drugs. You can safely stop the medication. So, and that is for blood pressure medication. So you have to first check whether the medicine which I am taking, I really need it, whether I am a true blood pressure patient or not. So the only way to do it is when you check it every day, and for the third day also, if it is less than 250, this means you had never been a blood pressure patient, just you were taking that medication because you were told to take it. So, and you were harming yourself by taking the medication, which you might be taking for last several years, right? So the same thing goes with cholesterol. You see, cholesterol, there are so many terms. Good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, very bad cholesterol, LDL, SDL, triglyceride. So about 10 years back, there was only one thing, total cholesterol. And I can tell you, your body produces cholesterol. It is not that your body produces some good cholesterol and the body produces a bad cholesterol. Whatever your body produces is a good thing, right? So rely only on one number, total cholesterol, right? In lipid profile, there are so many numbers are there, and it is a kind of trap. If your total cholesterol okay, then check the LDL. If that is okay, check the HDL. If that is also okay, check VLDL. If that is also okay, check triglyceride. And one or the other will be out of the range, and then it is a trap, right? So what is happening that with every year one new terms is adding, and that is ensuring that if your rest of things are okay, surely this thing will not be okay. That means your chances of taking the medication, right, that increases. So don't get confused in it. You just depend on one thing, and that is the total cholesterol. And at the end of the day, if the total cholesterol is less than 250, right? Again, you will say from where I got the number 250. Again, it is an evidence-based number, right? And I have written the book, High Cholesterol, a Medical Fraud, right? I have two copies, one for guest of honor, one for chief guest. How should I? So, and for rest of you, at the end of this, I will give you a link, and if you go to the link, you will get free ebook, right? So, it is a very thin book, as you have seen, and it will take half an hour for you to read, and then you will understand that how I got 250. It is all evidence based. If total cholesterol on third day, need not to check every day. On third day, you can check total cholesterol. It comes less than 250 without the intervention of medicine. This means surely you don't need cholesterol or drug also. Safely you can stop it. Now comes the blood sugar, diabetes. For 3 days you stop the blood sugar medication, but you do the test all the 3 days. Tomorrow, assuming you are not taking the medicine, but tomorrow you check the fasting blood sugar, you check the post blood sugar before going to sleep. Assuming that the last thing you ate should be at least 2 hours before going to sleep. This means you finish your dinner by 8 p.m. You will sleep at 10. Before going to sleep, you check the blood sugar. Fasting blood sugar check, you add and divide by 2. If it comes less than 250 mg per deciliter, first day, then do it second day, then third day, and consistently if it is coming less than this means you don't need the blood sugar medication also. This is in line with the latest recommendation which was released last year, ACP guideline. The ACP guideline, at the end of this training, I have a physical copy of in the plain language summary of that. Before you leave this hall, you can carry one copy of that so that you can read and understand and convince yourself, and maybe you can convince your doctor also, right? Because they believe in references. Without reference, they think it is unscientific. So I want to pack you with a lot of references also, so that when you show the references, at least they will be in line with what you are saying. And then maybe, because many of you may not want to go right against your doctors, so you want to take them along. But to take them along, you have to show them the evidences. So before you leave this hall, you can take a physical copy of it, right, which is a authorized ACP, which is a bigger body than ADA, right? In India, Indian Medical Association, they follow ADA, American Diabetes Association, but ACP, American College of Physicians, that is a much bigger body, an older body, right? And they are more authoritative. And it is their guideline which was released in last year, 6 March 2018. So, 70% of you who are taking medication, 70% of you will pass in all the 3 numbers. This means 70% of you after next 3 days, you will never need a medication because all these parameters will be less than 250. So those 70% of you will not need to implement anything what I am going to tell you now, right? They are free. But 30% of you may have higher number than 250, maybe higher blood pressure more than 250, blood sugar more than 250, and blood cholesterol also more than 250. Now the question is, what can be the question? Whether they should continue the medication. True, they have to reduce their blood sugar. It is true, they have to reduce the blood pressure, and if possible, they should try to reduce the cholesterol also. Here, for cholesterol, I'll just give you one sentence and that will end the story. That is, don't eat cholesterol. And your cholesterol can never go high. Don't eat cholesterol. Now, what question will come? How to know which food is having cholesterol? The answer is very simple. God has given the power to produce cholesterol only to animals. So, if you eat animal, you are eating cholesterol. So before you eat anything, you ask yourself, is it animal? Oh, animal. Don't eat. Your cholesterol can never be high enough to cause any problem, right? So, for example, you are drinking 1 glass of milk. Is it from plant or animal?
Animal.
So, there is cholesterol. Cashew nuts, right? So, before you eat, oh, it must be having cholesterol. But ask yourself, is it from plant or animal? Plant, no cholesterol. You are plant or animal? You are animal, so your body is producing cholesterol. So, a simple logic. So, as you know that I have a training center in Vietnam and Malaysia, and there 100% people all the time they are on animal food. If I ask them that don't eat animal, they will not listen to me anymore, right? So I have to negotiate with them. Then I change my tone. Eat less animal. Then I change my tone like this, okay, then I try to negotiate. Try to eat animal with less cholesterol. So then they will ask me, how to know which animal is having less cholesterol? My answer is very simple. Animal with less legs are having less cholesterol. Like pork, beef, goat, 4 legs. Very dangerous. Too much cholesterol. Chicken only 2 legs. Little cholesterol. Fish, no legs. So, I try to convince that, okay, if you have decided that you cannot stop taking animal food, at least you try to reduce animal food, number of frequency of eating, and every time you eat, ask yourself, if somebody offers you animal food, you will stop, let me first count the legs. Okay, 2 legs, let me eat little bit. 4 legs, okay, you will take it back. So, and among land animal and sea animal, choose sea animal. And when you decide to choose sea animal, again count legs. Octopus, 8 legs, my God, leave it. Right? So sometimes one participant asks, doctor, what about snakes? No legs. Right? But snake, if you see macroscopically inside the skin, there are thousands of legs. So maybe God want to tell you that this is so dangerous, poisonous, don't eat it. Right? So idea is that try to moderate and try to minimize as much as you can, and if you can do it, it will be a contribution to your body, to your health. At least if you are aware, then at least if you try to do it, something significant is going to happen. So here here we have arrived that 70% of you will be finding all the parameters less than 250. This means they need not to do anything else. They just need to stop the medication. That's all. End of the story. Because their parameters are within range without the medication, which is called a safe range. So why to bother about reducing it anymore or taking medication? Now 30% of you will have numbers demonstrating more than 250. The question is what they should do. So next 10 minutes I will be spending on that they should not take medication for sure, but it is also true they must reduce the numbers. So now I am going to give you training what you should do to reduce the number immediately. Immediately means within the next 1 or 2 days, right? Within this parameter. That is very, very important for all of you. So it is very simple also. So for those who will discover they are reading more than 250 when they stop medication, what they have to do? Step 1, stop going to your doctor, right? Because they will discourage you from anything. But the idea is to get the number down, whatsoever method you use, right? Whether you want to take medication, then get it done lower or through other means, right? As long as you are within range, everything is okay. That's it. You're on a safer side. Stop going to a doctor and order a pizza. Look, I did not ask you to eat a pizza, right? So don't be very happy. I only asked you to order a pizza, right? So here, very, very interesting and important thing is that if you understand the business of pizza, it is very similar to the business of health. Means your body mechanism, right, inside. So I'll take this example. Let's say you are in a pizza business. You opened a pizza business and in your kitchen there are thousands of lot of pizza, and on the other hand there are a lot of hungry people who are asking to get those pizza. So you have a lot of pizza in your house, in your kitchen, right? And you have a lot of hungry customers also who want to eat your pizza. Even then you can fail in the pizza business in 3 ways. Number one, the most important reason why you may fail in the business, because you may not have the motorbike, enough motorbike to help you to take this from here to the customer, right? So if the transportation system is not good or not enough, you may fail the pizza business in spite of the fact that you have a lot number of pizza and you have number of customers, because there is nothing to connect them. So that is same as in the body, that this is customer, which is the hungry cells of the body, right? Craving for sugar, and your blood is having a lot of sugar. But what is missing? Something which transport the sugar from the blood to the hungry cells. And what is that? Insulin. Insulin is like a motorbike of the pizza delivery system. Insulin work is similar to this motorbike. It takes the sugar from the blood and it takes it into the cells, hungry cells, right? But if your body is producing less number of motorbike, then the blood is having a lot of pizza, right? And the cells are also hungry, but that is not happening. So they are mostly called, if it is among the children, they are known as diabetes type 1, right? Type 1 small children means their body is not producing enough insulin, right? So, or even in type 2 elders also, when the body is not producing enough insulin, so what is the suggestion? You take insulin from outside, isn't it? Very normal, right? So that is one kind of problem because of which you may fail in pizza business. But let's say you solve the problem anyway. You have enough motorbike, you have enough customer, you have enough pizza also. In spite of that, you may fail in the pizza business if the road condition is poor, very bad, right? Whenever they are transporting, the transportation system is not good, so they will fall on the ground on the road because of the potholes, and the delivery will not happen at the right time. You lose the connection, the customers and the pizza business will fail. The same thing happens in the body, and this relates to those people, those who are able to reduce their blood sugar by taking medication, right? That is in your body. If you look inside the body, there will be number of fat deposits, number of tumor deposits, number of stones, right? Tumor, polyps, fat, outgrowth, stones. Those are, you can relate like a potholes on the road. I'll give you one simple example which is very relevant. You think of a lock. You have the lock with the right key, but still you are not able to open the lock because in the keyhole somebody has stepped a chewing gum. So what will happen? The key will not be able to enter the lock, right? Because inside the keyhole there is a chewing gum. The same thing happens in context of hungry cells. In the hungry cell, microscopically, if you are able to see, there are number of keyholes. But in those keyholes, the real fat deposit happens. Because of that, when the insulin is like a key trying to open the lock of the cells, they are unable to open. So I mean to say, the diabetes type 2 patient, the patient who are taking medication, their body is producing enough insulin, enough key. But the problem is, the keyhole is having a lot of fat deposit. And those fat deposits are similar to the roadblocks. So that is the second way you may fail in the pizza business, and that is what is called diabetes type 2 patient, or the patient, non-insulin dependent patient, or the people who take medication and then their blood sugar becomes normal. So those are the one who can relate themselves with this kind of situation when you may fail in a pizza business. Now, before I give you the solution, what you must do once you go back home to bring it to normal, imagine a third way you may fail in the pizza business, and that is you have a good road, you have a motorbike, enough customer, and enough pizza. Even then you are failing in pizza business because of one reason, and that is bad management. Right? Bad manager means when he receives the phone call from the customer, he is not able to give the direction at the right time to the kitchen to make the pizza. And while normally what should happen? The moment he gets the information from the customer, he instructs the kitchen, and meanwhile he keeps the motorbike ready with the right address. So that the pizza is already ready and the motorbike is already ready, and immediately within a few minutes, that is in India it is 30 minutes, right? It should reach. So that is the system. So because he is not able to give the instruction signal at the right time, and even when the pizza is reaching but delayed, right? That is not a hot pizza. Right? So that is a failure of the signaling system of the body. In context of body, the moment you think of a food, I am feeling hungry, this very thought triggers, the brain triggers the pancreas to produce insulin. I have not started eating. I have not looked at the food also. I just thought, I want to eat food. This thought triggers the first trigger for the pancreas to produce insulin. Then when I look at the food or when I touch the apple and I am just looking at it, brain sends the second signal that release insulin. It's like in the similar way, the moment the manager knows the pizza is almost, they are packing the pizza, the manager will direct, start the bike, saving even 1 second, trying to understand, right? He's trying to coordinate with the kitchen and the motorbike person and also the customer, right? So that the things happen efficiently. In the same way, the moment I'm thinking of the food, the brain gives the first signal. The moment I'm looking at the food or holding the food, brain gives the second signal. And when you chew the food, this chewing action, at that time, with full speed, the insulin is circulating in the body. But these days, you see, we avoid chewing. We are in very much hurry. And the food which needs lot of chewing, we try to avoid that. That's why we eat the food which is too cooked or which is too refined, right? So this means suddenly the food reaches the stomach without the notification to the pancreas, and only when it reaches the stomach, now the body knows there is a food. Now the brain instructs the pancreas to produce insulin, but now the body will take time to produce insulin, and meanwhile the food which is already cooked has to wait in the kitchen itself till the time the motorbike person is ready, right? And what will happen? If it lies in the kitchen for a long period, it will get spoiled in the kitchen itself. It will not reach hot, right? So the diabetes patient's body also produces same amount of insulin as a healthy person's body. The only difference is the delayed insulin production because of the problem of signaling system failure, right? Equivalent to signaling system failure in the pizza business. So your body is a pizza business, and this business can fail in 3 different ways. So for each of the way there is a different solution. For example, if your motorbike is less, then what you will do? You will buy more motorbikes. If manager is not good, you will buy a good manager, and the problem is solved. The simplest solution you can expect for your body according to your problem, right? So now let's come to the solution. The first solution is, first problem is less number of motorbike, means body is not producing enough insulin. If this is the case, then what should we do? Second is body is producing enough insulin, type 2, but the road is not good, means there are fat deposits. And the third problem is, which is called diabetes type 3. You have heard diabetes type 1, you have heard type 2, but did you hear type 3? Right? There is also called type 3, like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, right? So these all are categorized till now as a brain disorder. But now scientists know the underlying condition is, underlying cause is body's inability to handle sugar properly, right? So they are together given a new name, and that's called diabetes type 3. And why I am telling you this, because through this you understand that directly, indirectly, most of the disease is the body's inability to handle the sugar properly. I already told you that even high blood pressure, right, diabetes itself may cause high blood pressure, right, or heart disease, because body is not able to handle the sugar. If the body is able to handle the sugar, the rest of the problem will also get vanished. Or this together is called metabolic syndrome, like high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, obesity, all of them clubbed together given one name, metabolic syndrome. Because now it is being recognized, these all seems to be different kind of illness, but actually they are from the same cause. So why to give them a different name? Let them club in one name. Metabolic syndrome, diabetes type 3. So if the cause is one, the solution should also not be many. So now step by step, let's try to understand your approach towards filling the gap. In first case, if the body is not producing insulin, this is very, very important for diabetes type 1 children. If you know someone who is diabetes type 1, type 1 means diabetes among the children. When about 30 years back when I was in school, or when you were in school, try to think of, do you remember even a single child with diabetes? No. But if you see now, in every section of the class in the school, you will find one diabetes patient or a child on average. So why so many diabetes children these days, whereas in our time we have never heard the word diabetes, forget about diabetes type 1. And we have never seen, I cannot remember any child in my whole school life with type 1 diabetes. But these days it is very common. It's not that children are more unhealthy, it's just that there is something wrong happening with them. So that's what we have to understand, and if we can implement it, two things will happen. Diabetes type 1 children will not be existing. No child will become diabetes type 1. If at all somebody is diagnosed with diabetes type 1, and if you can interfere very quickly, it can be reversed. Right? It can be normalized. And that is what I'm going to tell you in next 2 minutes. So next 2 minutes, information can save a diabetes type 1 children, right, from remaining type 1 for rest of the life. And that is this information. You know about it already. Your body is made up of cells and millions of cells, but only 10% of the cells are the cells which you can call your own cell. 90% of the cells are the cells which are not the cell exactly, they are called microorganisms. And most of them, they live in the intestinal tract. Right? So this means when you die, only 10% of the body cell dies, rest 90%, they are independent creature, they don't die, they start eating your body, and ultimately when they ate all of your body, then they travel to some other body and they live there. In the same way as we live in this earth, they live in your body, and for them, your body, our body is their earth. Right? So 90% of the cells in the body are microbes, microorganisms, and they don't die when you die. So why am I giving this information? Because this information will lead to one important information, and that is one microbe which lies in the stomach, mostly in the colon. The name of the microbe is Akkermansia mucinifila. Name is not important, need not to remember. Right? But why I am giving these data? Because some people are convinced more when they know the exact data. Right? That is the idea. Right? So this is the bacteria which lies in the colon, and this bacteria gives signal to the pancreas, and it helps the pancreas to produce insulin. And if in your body this bacteria is reduced, the quantity of bacteria reduced, then the body's ability to produce insulin also get reduced. It is seen among the diabetes type 1 children, and it is seen among the people who are taking insulin that they all have one thing in common, that this bacteria in their body is negligible, very small amount. Right? This bacteria helps the body to produce insulin. Now, only thing you have to do is, you have to increase the quantity of this microbe in the body. How to increase? Very simple. This bacteria eats a specific kind of food, and that's called MAC, MAC, MAC. So you have to eat only those food, or those food in ample amount, which contains MAC, right? When you eat more MAC, so what will happen? More this bacteria will be produced in the body, means the it will multiply faster. And if this quantity of this bacteria is enough in the body, so what will happen? Your body will produce more insulin, and more insulin means less diabetes. And how much time it should take? It takes about 1 day or 2 days. Right? Every 4 hours, these bacteria doubles its number. So 8 hours, 4 times, then 16 times, and you know it is a geometric progression. And if you know a little bit about geometric progression, then you know, right, in 1 day or 2 days it can become really huge. Right? So now the only question is, which are the food which contains MAC, MAC. So the next slide, very important slide. MAC, it means microbiota accessible carbohydrate, MAC. Any food which you have eaten till now in your lifetime, every food, any food contains carbohydrate, no doubt. But carbohydrate in the food are different in nature for each of the food. So one kind of carbohydrate is called microbiota accessible carbohydrate, and this is the carbohydrate which is found only in fruits and vegetables when you eat them in raw form. Then you are eating MAC, right? And if you are eating a lot of MAC, so that the population of that bacteria will increase. How much time? 1 or 2 days. And if it increases in 1 or 2 days, what will happen? Within 1 day, within 2 days, that child who was taking a lot of insulin 4 times a day, right? It becomes your responsibility, a warning you must give that now within 1 or 2 days, he must reduce his insulin either to 1/3, means if he was taking about 50 units, how much? Just 15 unit insulin, 1/3, or in some cases even 0 unit. It depends how much, how severe is his condition, but surely 1/3 insulin is produced because that much insulin body's capacity has increased, right? So just 1 day or 2 days. Some parents they think when they get this information, okay, what I will do, I will change the child's diet and include more this and more this. Right? But let me give the child the same dose of insulin as doctor has prescribed. They take the middle path. Medicine I will give the child as doctor has prescribed, and let me include a lot of this MAC in his diet. So what you can expect? Hypoglycemia. That is the emergency situation. You must understand that those who are taking insulin, most of the time they don't die of diabetes or high blood sugar. Most of the time they die of low blood sugar. Right? And the low blood sugar is something which cannot happen to your body naturally. You don't eat for 10 days, still your blood sugar cannot go hypoglycemic. Very low. It can happen only in one case, when you are on medication. So your body is not designed to keep the blood sugar too low, because low blood sugar can cause immediate damage to your body, whereas high blood sugar for many years can cause damage to the body. So try to understand the problem is not of high blood sugar at all, the problem is the danger of low blood sugar. So we have to protect our body from low blood sugar, not from high blood sugar. Of course, high blood sugar is also not good, but your body is designed to protect you from low blood sugar. Only when you take more higher dose of insulin or medication, your body is forced to reduce the blood sugar to a less than danger zone, and that causes more death than diabetes. Right? So, how much quantity of this? At least 50%. A child eats 1 kg of food in the whole day. Whatever he eats, you collect and you weigh them. And let's say it is 1 kg. Decide from tomorrow 500 grams, half a kg should be this, and rest 500 grams can be anything else. At least, right? So I am giving you a rough idea also. So this is the first problem solution. If the motorbike is less, then this is the solution. Now the second problem in failing in pizza business was bad road condition, means lot of fat deposit, lot of tumor, lot of stone, right? So those are like the obstacle on the road. You are having a good motorbike, but on the road there are a lot of blockages. There are a lot of stones, there are a lot of holes. So even if you have a good motorbike, you will not be able to ride properly. So the same thing happens in the body. So many of you may not be diabetic patient, but still you may have tumor. Still you may have stone, right? And you would like to eliminate them. Because body is having a compensatory mechanism for many of us, that it by any means it will try to keep the blood sugar within range, right? So for some people, the body is not maintaining the blood sugar within range. They will be treated as high blood sugar patient. For rest of them, the body will have many more tricks to control the blood sugar, but at the cost of damaging something else, right? So if your blood sugar is normal, that does not mean that you may not have any tumor or stone or excess fat. You will still have, right? So the safe is to implement the rule which I am going to tell you, not only if you are a diabetes patient, but also even if you are healthy, because being healthy and remaining healthy are two different things, right? So here the next strategy is diabetes type 2. If this is the problem, the solution is autophagy. Nobel Prize winning science, very interesting. This, if you were to ask me that I want to take back only one thing from this today's training, I will say take this back. Right? Implement this science. Autophagy, what is autophagy? Let me give you one example to make you understand. Imagine that you read newspaper every day, it comes to your house. What do? At the end of the day, you don't throw it. You keep it, right? And when it piles up to a sizable quantity, then what do? You call someone and you sell it. The person who buys it, he do not want to read the newspaper, right? He want to recycle the newspaper, right? So your waste can be of some use to somebody else, right? That is what is called recycling. Same thing happens in the body, right? In your body, if you say any stone is there, any tumor is there, you take it out, you put it under the microscope, you analyze that, chemical analysis, you will be surprised to see in the tumor, in the stone, there are a lot of good nutrition is there, full of calcium, full of magnesium, full of potassium, all very important good chemical and nutrition minerals are there in the stone, in the tumor. So those are made of the things which are very, very important for your body's survival, right? So tumor and stone are not the bad thing, but they are at the wrong place. So what is autophagy? Autophagy is body breaks the tumor, body breaks the stone and recycle those nutrition again according to where it needs, right? Like your newspaper is waste for you from a particular angle that you are not able to read anything because you have read everything. But that newspaper is useful in some other way. The same recycling happens in the body. As a result of that, in our body, if there is some tumor or stone, it cannot grow beyond a particular size. Because after that, body will recycle. Imagine that you are collecting the newspaper, but after some time you realize that the person who comes to buy, right, he do not come for a long time. What will happen? Your house will be full of newspaper. And then comes the problem. You'll be choked, right? So, but that may happen rarely. The same thing happens with the body. If your body stops autophagy, which is called recycling of the body, then, which happens in 20% of the patient, 20% of the population, world population, and that is what is causing cancer, death because of cancer. If your autophagy is on, you are protected from cancer. You are not protected from tumor. Tumor will form, but the body is breaking also, right? You are piling up the newspaper, but you are selling it also, recycling also, right? So now the question is how to switch on the autophagy. If you can switch on the autophagy, if you can make it faster, then what will happen? It will burn the fat, it will burn the tumor, it will dissolve the stones, and as a result, the road will become smooth and your blood sugar will naturally come down, right? Because your motorbike, that is the insulin, starts working more efficiently. So for that, you have to switch on or you have to increase the speed of autophagy. So how to do it? Very simple. According to this Nobel Prize winning science 2016, if you read very carefully, you will find one solution, and that is what is called daily 12 hours and weekly 24-hour fasting. Right? Fasting is nothing new. Right? As a cultural, we have been doing it. Right? But now I am just explaining from the scientific point of view also. Right? You decide that every day you will eat within the bracket of 12 hours. You will start eating at 8 a.m. in the morning, you will finish your last food by 8 p.m. Right? So now, from 8 p.m. in the night till the next day morning 8 a.m., you will not eat anything. That is called 12-hour fasting. I am not asking you to eat less. No. I am only asking you to eat within a bracket. Right? You decide your bracket. So those, if cancer patient comes to me, then it is not 12-hour bracket. I say it is 10-hour bracket or maybe 8-hour bracket. Right? So try to eat everything within 8 hours, and for rest of the whole day, don't eat. So, but your body needs nutrition 24 hours a day, and at one point of time, what the body will start doing, the body will start breaking up for nutrition, for getting the nutrient. It will get the supply from where? From those stones, from those tumors, from those outgrowths. So, but you have to give an opportunity to the body to do it. For that, you should not supply the body nutrition round the day and night, right? So we have an habit to have the first meal in the morning at 7 a.m. and the last at 10 p.m. So this means we are giving abundance of nutrition to the body, and body is not having any desire to switch on the autophagy, because autophagy itself involves lot of energy utilization, right? So, and body is in a mode of saving the energy. So, but only when you challenge the body by reducing the intake time, I am not saying reducing the intake quantity, only the time you have to regulate, that every day, if not anything more, right, at least 12 hours fasting I'll do, and once in a week, maybe every Sunday, 24-hour fasting, or more conveniently, 24-hour coconut water fasting. This means one day in the week I'll not eat anything, but I'll supply some nutrient in the form of mineral water, some kind of minerals. You see, coconut water is the nature's mineral water, the purest mineral water in the world. So either water fasting or coconut water fasting, right? So if you can do it, so it will take 1 week, 10 days time to bring back the blood sugar less than 250 without the help of any medication. But it can happen only for those people, those who have this kind of problem. That means the blood sugar is out of control because of this cause, right? So that is the second solution. Now the third is the manager, that is the signaling system problem, right? Your body is not giving signaling at the right time. So if that is a problem, then there is a solution to it, and the solution is very simple. We know that, and from ages we know that. That is, every day if you exercise for 1 hour, like your signaling system will start improving, right? Just exercise, for example, yoga, for example, going to gym for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, right? So that's what Sujitji also did, 1.5 hours of exercising every day, right? So automatically within 10 days, so he attacked his body from all the 3 dimensions, right? And he got the result in 10 days. But again the question comes, I don't have 1 hour every day, right? I am stuck in such a kind of routine that I cannot spend 1 hour every day. If you are among them who cannot spend 1 hour every day, then you can do what I am going to tell you now. But if I ask you, don't spend 1 hour, but do you have 5 minutes every day? So now the answer is yes. Yes. However busy you may be, but you can spare 5 minutes every day. Then, if you can spare 5 minutes every day for yourself, take out from your hectic life schedule, then the next slide is called High Intensity Interval Training, PLOS 1, April 2016, 26th April. This is a very, very powerful journal, you know, and in this journal, if you read, it's called High Intensity Interval Training. A kind of training, if you do it for 11 minutes, it gives you the same health benefit which you will otherwise get when you do 1 hour exercise in the gym, right? So 1 hour exercise in the gym is the health benefit wise, it will not give the same amount of muscles or same amount of body look, but the health benefit will be similar to what you might have got if you would have spent 1 hour in gym. And that is by doing 11 minutes of high intensity interval training. And my proposal is, you start with 5 minutes only, not even 11 minutes, because 11 minutes you will not be able to do it. So what you have to do for 11 minutes, I am just going to tell you. For that I will just take that with the chair, and I need 2 volunteers. Yeah, put the chair here. Great. So 2 or 1, you and anybody, just you have to hold the chair, and I call it kitchen slab exercise, right? So early morning, the moment you get up in the morning, straight go to the kitchen, not to eat, but to do this. Spend 5 minutes. What you have to do for 5 minutes, that I am going to explain. So here you are going to help me to hold it because it is not a kitchen slab. So the moment I try to do exercise, it try to move here and right. So so that you force the chair so that it should not move. So the kitchen slab exercise, how to do it for the high intensity interval training. High intensity interval training means you are going to challenge your lungs and heart. This means, but you are going to relax your other muscles. Right? You will give rest to the body, but no rest to heart and lungs. You are continuously challenging for 5 minutes heart and lungs, but you are giving intermittent rest to other muscles of the body. How to do that? I will just show you. Kitchen slab is normally at this level, but here I am using this just to explain you. So I will start with this. For 5 minutes it is continuous, but here since I have to make you understand, so I may stop in between, but otherwise it will be continuous. The step 1 for 5 minutes. Like this, you hold it, then 1, 2, 3. So you have to do it for 10, right? So now, if it is difficult for you, so you can bring it closer. When it is closer, it becomes easy, right? So here you are holding it at this stage, right? And when you bring your legs closer, it becomes easy. And if you want to make it tough, your legs is far away from the slab, it becomes difficult. So level of difficulty you decide. But what I decide, it should be count of 10. Once you do it, then you change the posture. Now, I change the posture and it is again 10. 1, 2, 3. If you want to make it difficult, I can make it further. If I want to make it easy, like this, right? And it will be easier for you because the height is this one, right? Not this much. So second, once I do 10 of count, then without wasting any second, I will change it. I'll again like this. Right? So I'm holding the slab like this, and 1, 2, 3. It seems to be very simple, but imagine that I already completed 10, 10, 10, and now I'm doing this, right? So when you do continuously, you're challenging your heart and lungs, right? This 10. And once you complete this, then again change. The fourth one is holding it here, and now this. 1. So this is the fourth. And then again the first one. Then again the second one. Then again the third one. 10 of count. Then again the fourth one. And if you are not able to do like this, you cannot sit because of the knee pain, etc. So you can do only partially. This much. So degree of difficulty or easiness you decide. But what I decide is the number, right? Count of 10, right? And so if you do it for 5 minutes, you will feel the same amount of exertion as you would have felt if you do it for about 30 minutes, right? And slowly you make it a little tough for you. And finally you decide within 1 month, from 5 minutes, you will make it 11 minutes. And then you will stick for 11 minutes. And I'm sure if you can find 5 minutes for you, eventually you'll find 11 minutes also. So when you do it, so what happens? This is the manager, the signaling system of the body. It tries to come in its own place. So exercise, high intensity interval training, autophagy, and also fruits and vegetables, about 50% of your diet. So I suggest, irrespective whether you are ill, whether you have blood sugar less than 250 or more than 250, why not to implement all of them? That will prevent anything, any emergency happening in future. Now coming to the same problem which you here shared with us, Mr. Raju Muruganji, our chief guest. So, cardiac arrest. I gave you one example, an idea that in your body there are a number of stepneys, which medically is called collateral arteries. Collateral arteries are the extra arteries which the body has, which is there in the body since the time you are born. With the idea, if any of the artery is blocked, body can switch on the collateral arteries, right? And but to switch on the collateral arteries, body needs nitric oxide. For example, to change the stepney, you need a tool. Similarly, body needs one tool to open the collateral arteries, and that tool is called nitric oxide, NO. Now your question is how we can produce NO. NO can be produced only when you do two things, right? If you oxygenate your body too much, which you can do with exercise, as I agree, and the second thing is when you eat a lot of greens, vegetables and fruits in raw form, this is the only way when the body produces high quantity of NO, and that is also Nobel Prize winning science 1998, right? And when the NO level is high, what the body will do, it will open up the collateral arteries in advance, right? This means in future if blockage happens in some main arteries, even then you will not know that blockage has happened. It is quite normal, many times it is seen through angiography that the person is having 100% blockage in all the three arteries, even then he is alive. So now why is he alive? Because in his body already many collateral arteries have been opened before automatically, because of maybe he was an athlete or because of he was eating like this. So for many of us, right, it should not be surprising that already your body might have opened the collateral arteries. But to ensure that for each one of us we have opened the collateral arteries, why not to do this? This is the only way to open the collateral arteries. And if your collateral arteries are open, then there is no scope, no chance of heart attack or brain stroke, those kind of emergencies, right? So these things are already documented things. These are the mainstream science, right? And I'll give you one example to make you understand. Like here you see this food, right? This food can help you reduce the insulin intake. So this is not a food. What it is? It is a medicine. So in US, this is considered as a medicine, and if you eat it for its medicinal purpose, so it is covered under medical insurance. So why I am saying this? Because I want to tell you that this is already recognized science, already the mainstream science. The only thing is it is not told to you, it is not taken to you. That is the only thing. But it is there in the literature already. Everything is already there. The only thing is it is not communicated to you properly or not communicated to you at all. Stanford University 2014 November. So now, how to implement these things in a correct way? The way Surjit has implemented step by step. I am giving you some formulas, and a formula which will help you to do it correctly, perfectly, right? So for that I'll give you one example. You see, this is one small island. I talked about it. This is the island in India, Andaman Nicobar, and here the people they live, they are called Jarawas. Jarawas are the people, they remain dissociated from the rest of the world for more than 50,000 years. 50,000 years. And even now they live as our ancestors were living 50,000 years before the era of discovery of fire. They are not able to, even now they are not able to light a fire. So this means they don't cook the food also, right? And they rely mostly on the plants and the fruits and vegetables for 90% of the diet. But they are technically Indian, and they are protected by Indian government, and nobody is allowed to go inside their territory, and even they are not allowed to come outside and mix with the modern man. With some permission, special permission, you may be allowed to go inside, because they have their own tools to attack the modern man, and they have killed also many modern men in the past. So about 3.5 years back, I got an opportunity to go close to them, and there I met one doctor called R.C. Kar. He is the doctor who went close to them about 25 years back, and he learned their language and he made a friendship with them, and ultimately Government of India appointed him as a single point contact with them. I got an opportunity to interact with him, and I asked him, "Doctor, do they suffer from diabetes?" He said they never had diabetes, they never had high blood pressure. Only when they fall from a tree or when they fight with other animals, they get injured, and that is the time when he gets an opportunity to give them comfort. In the process, he gets the blood sample, he can measure the blood pressure, and through that he made a book, right, on Jarawas, right? And there he wrote their blood pressure is always 100/60, and they have a good blood sugar. They never have had a history of heart disease. They are Indian technically, but no heart disease, no blood sugar. No one died of heart attack. So one kind of Indian without any lifestyle illness. Then about 4 years back, I got an opportunity to work with Kuwaiti population. They are the one among the highest prevalence of diabetes in this world. Highest prevalence of diabetes in the world. So I got two kind of populations side by side. One human, but highest prevalence of diabetes. One human, no prevalence of diabetes. Both are human beings, but contrast. So I studied both of them side by side, and I got only one thing which was really compelling, and that is the kind of food they choose to eat. And I gave them a name. The food which the Kuwaiti population chose to eat, I call them DIP diet, and the diet which Jarawas population they eat normally, I call them VIP diet. This is what will change your life. So the next 5 minutes, right, I'll conclude, and then you can ask question. That will be the conclusion, right? So next 5 minutes, please focus. What is VIP diet? You know what is VIP? In India, VIP is someone who can break the law, right? In a traffic, right, you see, in a traffic, right, in spite of red light, if some people, they are able to break the law, nobody is stopping, people say, look, VIP is going, VIP is going, right? How he will get recognized that he is a VIP? Only when in the red light, he will not stop, he will, in spite of red light, he is allowed to go VIP. There are certain kind of food, when you eat, it goes in the stomach, it behaves like VIP. In spite of high blood sugar, it enters the blood, right? It disrupts the blood sugar metabolism, it disrupts the homeostasis of blood pressure, and these are the kind of food which can be categorized as VIP, because they ignore the rules of the stomach of the body, and they just jump in the blood and destroy all the balance. Then another kind of food, I call it DIP, disciplined and intelligent people, DIP, disciplined and intelligent people, like you and me. In the traffic signal, what we do? If it is a red light, we stop. If it is a green light, very, very carefully, we look here and then we go ahead. There are certain kind of food when you take in, if the blood sugar is high, it will not enter the blood. It will not contribute to blood sugar anymore. It will hide in the stomach, or it will go in the liver, or it will throw in the colon. So, but only when the blood sugar comes low, it will add to the blood drop by drop with some regulation. So, any diabetes patient, if they start eating DIP diet, he cannot be diabetic within 10 days, 15 days time down the line. He cannot remain diabetic. On the other hand, if any healthy person, he starts eating like VIP, within a month's time, he cannot remain healthy person. So that is one strong evidence I found. Now the only thing I want to tell you, that next time when you eat from today, the only thing is you choose and eat only DIP food. You look at the food, if it is DIP, I'll eat. So you have to understand the science to understand a little bit. So how you know which is DIP diet and which is VIP diet? So you remember this list. Only 4 kind of things which are VIP. Any food comes from animal is a VIP food. Any food which comes from a factory, before it reaches your hand, if it has come from the factory and then came to you in a packed form with beautiful packing, right? Anything which is packed, don't open the pack. Right? Just remember it is VIP. Nutritional supplement, right? Maybe tomorrow's training in embassy, there I'll touch this subject more in detail. Second part, right? That is a VIP. Any kind of medication, right? First it disrupts the body's own balance, and then only it causes its own impact on the body. Certainly they are VIP. 4 kind of thing in the world which works as a VIP: fruits, vegetable when you eat in raw form, sprouts, nuts, and leaves, especially the green leaves. If you eat this, it comes under DIP. I'll give you one example to satisfy your brain. You take any fruit and vegetable and make a juice and put it in the microscope, and what you find is this. Is it living or dead? It is living, not dead. Now you take any fruit juice, packed fruit juice, Tropicana, etc., and put it under microscope. Do you think that you will find this? No. This is what is called live enzymes. Now when you eat any food, fruits and vegetables in raw form, along with the food you are eating this also. And these are equivalent to driver of a car. Right? In your body, in the stomach, whenever you eat food, the body produces one, you can call it traffic policeman. It is called incretin hormone. And its job is to give a direction to the food, whether to add to the blood, whether to stop in the stomach, whether to hide in the liver, based on what is the blood sugar level, based on how much is your blood pressure, based on whether your cholesterol is less or more. So based on those, like a traffic policeman, intelligently it directs the food how to behave. But imagine you have a luxury car, but there is no driver, but you switch on the car and put a brick on the accelerator and let it run on the street. What will happen? Only one thing, accident. Same whenever you eat a food without this live enzyme, right? Food is still full of nutrients, but having a good machine and having a good steering and wheels is not enough. You need a good driver also, who can understand the language of a traffic policeman, right? So in the absence of this live enzyme, this nutrient-filled food goes in the stomach and doesn't know what to do. It just rushes towards the blood, increasing and destroying the homeostasis of the body. You have to eat the food only when it is having live enzyme. Right? At least you have to eat larger quantity of food with live enzyme. Humans are the only animal who kill the live enzyme and then eat the food. Right? No other animal, they eat the food. Right? So I'm not saying that from tomorrow stop cooking. I'm just saying that from tomorrow you add something which is having live enzyme also. Right? You add this. Let you eat whatever you're eating, but add this. And even if you add 50% of the food with this, you see a tremendous result within 1 day or 2 days, right? Or at the most 10 days, right? And one person who did it, right, like Sujiji, and his name is famous Bill Clinton example. In 2004, he had 4 bypass surgery, 2005, 1 lung surgery, 2010, 2 angioplasty. If you see Bill Clinton's photo in 2010, you will find him very sick, very fat, and very mad also, ugly also. His behavior was, what happens when you have a lot of surgery, your brain cells start dying and you appear to be mad. That is a normal thing. In 2010, he was told about this kind of diet, right? So he decided to be on this kind of diet, and now it is 2019, 10 years. Within few days, his heart started functioning better, his weight started reducing, and he got himself free of all the medication. And even after 10 years now, he's now more active than before, more healthy than before, even more handsome than before. Now, the electronic media, they were surprised and shocked to see his new health, and they asked him what is the reason, the secret behind his new health. What was his answer? You listen yourself, his answer.
But I did it for a different reason. I mean, I wanted to lose a little weight, but I didn't dream this would happen. I did it because after I had this stent put in, I realized that even though it happens quite often that after you have bypasses, you lose the veins because they're thinner and weaker than arteries. The truth is that it clogged up, which means that the cholesterol was still causing buildup in my vein as part of my bypassing. And thank God I could take the stents. I don't want it to happen again. So I did all this research and I saw that 82% of the people since 1986 who have gone on a plant-based, no dairy, no meat of any kind, no chicken, turkey. I eat very little fish. Once in a while I'll have a little fish, not often. If you can do it, 82% of the people who've done that have begun to heal themselves. Their arterial blockage cleans up. The calcium deposit around the heart breaks up. This movement has been led by a doctor named Caldwell Esselstyn at the Cleveland Clinic, Dean Ornish in Iowa, California, the doctors Campbell, father and son, who wrote the China study, and a handful of others. But we now have 25 years of evidence. And so I thought, well, since I need to lose a little weight for Chelsea's wedding, I'll become part of this experiment. I'll see if I can be one of those that can have a self-clearing mechanism. We'll see.
I hope you're healthy for many.
Here you heard Bill Clinton, he talked about how he was on a plant-based food and he stopped taking animal food, dairy products, and how he recovered. Even he named few doctors, Corvallis, T. Colin Campbell. I got an opportunity to learn from them, especially T. Colin Campbell. He also named China study. China study is the biggest ever science or research on nutrition and human disease connection. It was a 25-year-old study by Oxford University, Cornell University, and Chinese Health Department. And China study book. It came in the form of book, China Study, and 2 years back it came in Vietnamese edition. And when this Vietnamese edition came, I got an opportunity to write the foreword for this book. If you see the first page of the book, you will find my name and the foreword. So I got an opportunity to become a very small part of this big project. Right? So why I am sharing all this, because I will tell you that I really worked in the last 10 years on this kind of diet with the thousands of my patients, more than 20,000 patients whom I could monitor directly. Right? So and every time I got the same result. Only time when I could not see result is the time when the patient did not follow what I said. Right? And the timeline of improvement is the next slide, based on my own understanding with my patients and monitoring with my patients. It takes about 72 hours to control the blood sugar. It takes about 1 week at the most to control the blood pressure and cholesterol and any kind of intestinal disorder. It takes about 1 month to reduce 10% of the weight. It takes about 2 months to get rid of the thyroid medicine. It takes about 6 months to 9 months for cancer, asthma and arthritis kind of problem. It takes about 8 months for skin disease, kidney dysfunction, liver. Sometimes it takes a little more than 8 months. But I saw a positive result in each and every case. What I mean to say, it is not about diabetes or blood pressure. It is about correcting any kind of problem inside the body. Right? So now, when you start it, you have to do it correctly. How to do it correctly? The formula is in 3 steps. So it will make the process easy for you. Step 1. Tomorrow if you want to start, how to start? Step 1 till 12 noon. Till 12 noon, be only on fruits. Choose any fruits. If you are a diabetic patient, then choose the fruit which is sweeter, like mango or chiku, grapes. Right? Maybe you are shocked that you are hearing something right unusual. That is right. If you start taking mangoes, if you start taking more kind of fruit which is sweeter, you will find that your blood sugar comes down normal quickly. What is the science behind it? I'll come back in maybe the second session, that is tomorrow. How much quantity? That is very, very important. Your body weight into 10. My body weight is 70 kg into 10. This means at least 700 grams of fruits till 12 noon. I am not giving the upper limit. It can be 2 kg, 3 kg, whatever you want. I am giving the lower limit. If you eat less than this, it's the food. If you eat more than this, it becomes a medicine. Many times people say, doctor, I eat fruits every day, but I am asking for quantity. Right? Try to understand, it is not what you want to eat, it is what quantity that makes all the difference. So I insist that you have to eat at least this much quantity. This much eatable, not including the outer layer which you are going to throw. Right? Like in banana, the outer covering is about 1/3 of the weight. So this is what you have to eat till 12 noon. This means no paratha, no roti, no tea, no bread, no biscuit. I am not asking you to eat less. I am asking, in spite, I am asking that you have to eat more. Only thing I am asking is eat this. And here there are variety, because here I gave you the flexibility that you can eat fruits of your choice. So every day you can have a different kind of fruit, and this means you are maintaining a variety also. Right? So that becomes step 1. Step 2. Whenever you sit for lunch or dinner, sit with 2 plates, plate 1 and plate 2. Plate 2 is your favorite plate. Whatever you want to eat. What do you want to eat? You want to eat noodles, you want to eat chole bhature, you want to eat chawal, roti, sabji. Whatever in this world you want to eat, you put in plate 2. In whatever quantity you want to eat, you put in plate 2. So actually I am not restricting you from eating anything. In fact, I am asking you to eat more. But only thing I am telling you is, before you touch plate 2, complete eating plate 1. Plate 1 is 4 kind of vegetable which you think you can eat in raw form, like tomato, cucumber, radish, carrot, etc. In what quantity? Your body weight into 5. My body weight is 70 kg into 5. At least 350 grams of plate 1, and once I finish this, now I am allowed to eat plate 2 as much as I want. Maybe you may be thinking at this point, if I eat this much quantity of plate 1, I will not have any space for plate 2. Even I don't want you to eat plate 2, but I don't want to say it directly, so I am giving you a condition. So where automatically you will be, right, not getting an opportunity to eat plate 2. But the truth is, right, you can confirm from Sujit that more you eat plate 1, more you feel hungry. And maybe first 2 or 3 days, after eating plate 1 of this quantity, you will not feel like eating plate 2, but after that 3 or 4 days, you will feel more hungry. This means you will end up eating plate 2 in the same quantity or more quantity than what in comparison to what you are eating right now. So you will not be deprived of what you are eating right now. Only thing I am saying is you have to add this. And adding this will increase your metabolism, the kind of metabolism which you used to have about 20 years back. Right? At that time you were eating more. So your metabolism will become high and body's ability to accommodate sugar will become high and your blood sugar will become less, your blood pressure will become less. Many clever patients, they say, doctor, what if first I eat plate 2 and then I eat plate 1? The result will also be opposite. You see, imagine you are in a motorbike and there is a red light. You are VIP, but behind you there are a VIP fleet of cars. They don't want to wait in a red light. They are just right, honking that be aside so that we can go. But you don't allow them to go. You are standing in front of them. So they, in spite of being VIP, they have to behave like VIP. The same is the case. What you eat is important, and in which order you eat is even more important. This is the DIP. When you eat this first, it covers the inner layer of the stomach. Now when you eat this, even if it is VIP, it has to follow DIP. Now think other way around. Many times you might have seen that a fleet of VIP car is going, ignoring the red light, and some clever driver, they take their vehicle behind them, and so that it appears that he is also part of the fleet. Right? So the same thing happens in the body also. If you first eat the plate 2, which is VIP, and then when you eat DIP, even it will start following VIP, and this means the kind of benefit which you are expecting from this, you will not get. So what you eat, which order you eat, when you eat, what quantity you eat, all this together becomes food as medicine. Right? So eat food not only as food, let it be a medicine. So whenever for lunch and dinner also. Same. Third and the last rule, avoid packed food, refined food, surely dairy product. Only one thing I insist, that stop dairy product if you want to see real result in very quickly. Nutritional supplements, avoid drinking tea and coffee. If you really want to drink tea and coffee, at least not avoid it till 12 noon. Maybe at 12 noon you have 1 cup, maybe in the evening you have 1 cup, but not first thing in the morning. Never eat after 8 p.m. surely, and avoid non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Small medicine which you take sometimes because of fever, sometimes because of common cold, some little bit headache, avoid it. Then how to control the fever? Maybe tomorrow, the second part I will cover that, right? In snacking, soaked nuts, very good. How much quantity? Your body weight. My body weight 70 kg, 70 grams of soaked nut every day throughout the day like snacks, fruits. Should not only be eaten till 12 noon, it can be eaten any other time of the day, even in the middle of the night if you really want to eat something. So fruits all time, including right, 12 till 12 noon also. Coconut water as much as you want. Hunza tea. It is a kind of recipe, maybe right. Tomorrow we'll explain this more, which we can make out of the ingredient which is available in our kitchen only. Sprouts, you can eat 70 grams equivalent to your body weight. Coconut as much as you want. And sunlight is one very important thing, but ignore. You have plenty of sunlight in this city, so try to be under sunlight. For this city, it can be just 20 minutes also is enough. Too much of sunlight. If you can expose your body to 20 minutes of sunlight every day, right? It can help you. Within 15 days, you can see the difference. So if you follow this, then the result, I have already given the timeline. You can expect the result in accordance to that timeline. Many times the people, they say that where I'll get the calcium, where I'll get the protein. These are the kind of thing. Especially the people who go to gym, I will build the muscle, how I'll get the power. I only give one example to conclude the answer of all this. The example is in 2015, Thailand. Right, every year in Thailand they celebrate Elephants Festival. In 2015, I was invited as a guest of honor by government of Thailand, and this is my Thailand team. And there I met an elephant doctor, Dr. Pitara. I asked the doctor, do elephants suffer from diabetes? So she said, no, there is no history of diabetes among elephant. I said, what about heart disease? She said, no, elephant don't suffer from heart disease, they don't suffer from cancer also. I said, what about high blood pressure? She said, there is no machine to measure their blood pressure, but I'm sure they might not be having high blood pressure also. I was thinking, if elephant do not suffer from any illness, why the government has appointed one doctor? While I was thinking about it, my mind went to an announcement happening there. The announcement was, don't offer elephant a human food, elephant may become sick. Only in one condition elephant becomes sick, when they start eating like human. So don't eat like human, eat like elephant, right? You cannot be sick. What elephant eat? Fruit and vegetables, and they are the strongest animal on the planet, right? So eat like elephant, and with that I conclude the final thing, and with this I come to the second part, which I will talk tomorrow. If you are a patient with more than 10 years of diabetes, if you are an insulin dependent patient, if you are on multiple therapy, then you have to take certain precaution, tapering down drugs and other things. So second part of this training, maybe tomorrow we have a training in embassy, right? So that second part where I finished today, I'll take up from tomorrow, that is advanced training. But meanwhile, vishwaroop.com/reference, if you go to this link, you'll be able to access these books. You can read this book, and these are very thin book, but very powerful. It includes all those examples which I shared in this training. It has all those links and details about those evidences which I talked in this last 2 hours. So with this, I conclude this today's training, and I'm very thankful that you listened so patiently to in last two hours. And maybe you have some questions. If you have some question, I gave you the feedback form. You can write those questions. I don't know when is the closing time of the hall, because we are already late by more than half an hour. So, right. So otherwise, you can submit your feedback form at the back, and don't forget to take the ACP guideline so that you can refer for your own benefit. And I conclude with this, and maybe I invite Surjit to the word of thanks.
Thank you very much. Chief Guest Mr. Raja Murugan onto the stage to receive a memento from Dr. Biswaroop Rao Chaudhary. I'd also like to invite Dr. Biswaroop Rao Chaudhary to join us on the stage to present the memento to Mr. Raja Murugan. Welcome. I'd like to request everyone to just remain on stage while I get everybody else on board, so we can conclude with a photo shoot and jump right into the seminar. I'd like to introduce the Honorable President of Indian Social and Cultural Center, Mr. Natarajan, to join us on stage as well, please. You can have the plaque here for to Dr. Biswaroop. Please, we'll be presenting it to Mr. Natarajan. I'd like to invite Surjit Singh onto the stage to receive a special recognition memento from Dr. Biswaroop Roy Chaudhary. I'd like to welcome Mr. Satya Babu, General Secretary of the IC, onto the stage to receive a memento from the doctor. Welcome, sir. And last but not least, I'd like to invite Mr. Tommy Miller, as we know Raju onto the stage to receive a memento from the doctor. Maybe he's run away. I'd like to now call up on our sponsors for making this event happen. I'd like to first start with Mr. Bhuta Singh, Managing Director of Al Raha Group, Abu Dhabi, to join us onto the stage. I'd like to invite Mr. Surjan Singh as well, Managing Director of Al Raha Group, Abu Dhabi, onto the stage. Just to keep everything moving, I'm going to say the names, and I'd like everyone just to assemble close to the stage so we can get to the good part, the seminar, really quick. I'd like to introduce, welcome Mr. Inderjeet Singh, Director of Electro Group, Abu Dhabi, to receive his memento. I'd also like to have Mr. Gurdeep Singh, Managing Director of Discovery Group, Abu Dhabi, to join us on stage. I'd like to welcome Mr. Balbir Singh Randhava, Managing Director of Abu Dhabi Plastic Factory, Abu Dhabi. Welcome, sir. I'd like to welcome Mr. Bahadur Singh, Managing Director of Ziyad Aluminium Abu Dhabi, onto the stage. And also Mrs. Gureen Sabarwal, Managing Director of Mustang General Trading, Dubai. Last but not least, we have Mr. Amrit Lal, Managing Director of Al Raha Group, Abu Dhabi. If there is someone here who can receive it on his behalf as well. Welcome, welcome. I'd quickly like to get our volunteers as well for helping out with the event. Mr. Lucky Cherat for all the help he's been doing behind the scenes. Mr. Jaswinder Singh Randhava, Mr. Sandeep Maheshwari. Can you guys come on stage as well and join everyone for a photo shoot? If we can have the photographers in front, this is the best time.
Gitu, group itu. Himakerino. Ergo, kayaknya. Kayaknya